5 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order, the Park and Rec Committee. Roll call.
Bear.
Here.
Johnson. Mansman.
Here.
Neski. Kimball. Here. Fox. Here. You're good.
I'll give you a minute to look over the March 27th minutes and seek an approval or any changes.
Move to approve.
Motion, second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. Discussion items.
Got a whole packet of stuff, Tiffany.
Plan here.
Okay, so certified playground trips. So as you may have noticed, if you have kids or if you walk by the parks, the playgrounds are growing speeds exponentially, essentially every single playground. And it's because we have about this much mulch and dirt. It's just a breeding ground for weeds right now. So we've looked into rubber mulch, jelly bean mulch, which is essentially another version of rubber mulch. We've looked into, and then certified wood chips. And essentially the rubber mulch, it comes at a way higher price obviously than wood chips. And as we work to replace the playgrounds, we want to work towards poured in place instead of any sort of mulch. So it doesn't make sense to spend such a high amount on jelly bean mulch or anything like that. If at some point, someday down the road, we'll replace it entirely with poured in place. So the two quotes that you have there, one is, I didn't realize that the business name was not on top, but one is there's a colorful Excel document, and then the other one's from Modern Rentals. So essentially, the difference between the two cost-wise is $1 per yard. But let me pull this up real quick. Right here. So Modern Rentals quotes at $30 per yard, and then with labor and delivery, it's $52 a yard. Whereas Natural Solutions, it's just $41 per yard. And instead of Modern Rentals, they come in and they'll manually place the mulch. Whereas Natural Solutions, they have a blower and you just blow it into the playground. And that's who the city has worked with before, according to my viewpoint, in the past. So what's very different about the two quotes is Modern Rentals broke it down playground by playground. As you can see here, like Eagle Park, it's 3 inches in one playground, 5 inches in another, whereas Natural Solutions, basically to be compliant, what we should have in there, we should have 12 inches, but that comes at a cost of $41,666 for all the playgrounds except Selfridge. This does not include Selfridge at all. And essentially he said, so 12 inches from fall zones is compliance with Natural Solutions advocates for at least 6 inches. So while it's also $1 cheaper per yard as well, but between the two, Natural Solutions, that's what their business is. They provide playground mulch to playgrounds, schools, communities, whatever it may be. So I like the fact that every playground would get the 6, whatever it may be, inches. So they're consistent and compliance-wise, it's better than like the ranging inches you have on the other quote as well. We could start out with 3 inches, and then next year do another 3 inches, and next year do another 3 inches. But it's not. 6 inches is like compliant, whereas like 3 is just to get by essentially. And he said, if we wanted to start with 3, then he would build out, we would want to build out a plan to continue to add more every single year, which is normally you would do like every 2 years or something like that. So just looking to see what your opinions are on, it's, to me, it's like a safety factor at the same time as they just obviously do the weeds, they need mulch. Everybody can physically see that. So to me, I think that 6 inches to be compliant is also would be great, but also it comes at the cost of $20,961 for every playground except Silver's Park. So just looking to see what your opinions are on the mulch predicaments, or wood chips, I should say, not mulch. Because we can't use regular mulch or like the mulch from all the trees we just cut down, because it has to be certified playground chips. So we can't use any of that stuff for it, unfortunately. And with natural solutions as well, I think it was somewhere around 30 something per yard. I think 32 per yard if we had to put in the mulch, but then that's not essentially what DPW, it would take a long time, we would need a lot of manpower to get it to all the playgrounds, and having a blower blow it in is,
That would be
makes
my
sense.
one question with the difference between modern rentals and natural solutions.
Yeah,
Natural solutions, it says that that the labor cost is included.
yes, yeah.
With modern rentals, is that labor cost already in?
No, so for modern
Are they guessing
rentals,
how much the labor, and it might take
Yeah.
more than that?
yeah, so
and
for
then that's
For
costing
modern
us.
rentals, it was, the labor is 5,800. So when you take that into consideration into the $30 per yard, that's why it comes out to the $52 a yard if you take their labor into consideration.
It's the same product for both of these, right?
Yeah, it's certified wood chips.
So we should add 5,000 to each of those inches. Is that what you're saying?
Add what, I'm sorry?
Add the 5,000 for labor on top of those numbers?
Nope, so right here,
The 15,340 has
yeah, right here.
has that labor in. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, is if. the
Oh,
labor was
sorry.
figured in.
Yeah, that's figured into it. That's the grand total.
Just because I know from moving wood chips that it can end up taking longer than what
Oh,
you're
yeah,
thinking.
yeah, it's definitely, especially with how many structures we have to, like, each individual one, it wouldn't be
I just
fast.
imagine that it's quite possible that through modern rentals, it could actually take longer and there could be more labor involved and then end up costing almost as much as 6 inches from the natural solutions.
Yeah, so in all, they're very similar in price, but just with the fact that at Natural Solutions, he did mention, like, this is what you would be at to be compliant, which is what, I don't want anybody getting hurt on the playgrounds or anything like that too, so that's,
Is this a 2024 expenditure, or is this 2025?
so that's what,
We would
So-
need, we need
Yeah.
to do this.
Yes.
Okay.
We worked with Natural Solutions. I believe they came in and did one park
2021, I
in
think.
2021,
Yeah.
in Barlow. And it was, I think, $3,000 or $4,000 just to do like 3 inches.
Right.
So they come in with a box truck full of wood chips or certified playground chips. And then they blow them in from the box truck, and they're in and out in literally, it's really quick. So, there are two challenges here. One are the weed control. We've been struggling with that. They've been trying to weed them, and we don't want to spray a chemical in with that. We've talked about that. We're just not comfortable doing that at this point. We've talked about natural chemicals, we've talked about burning, we've talked about a whole bunch of different things before we place this layer down, just to kind of kill them off. They will grow wherever they can, because they're weeds. But overall, probably, by doing this, we can then get on a healthier rotation where say we do 3,000 or say 3 inches every other year or something, right? To get to a better, but we are playing absolute catch up because there are probably parks that haven't received mulch on a regular schedule for the last 5 years or so.
You can essentially take your shoe and just move the mulch and then dirt. Like it's like one swift motion dirt. It's not great.
How can we put 12 inches of mulch, those bumper things on some of ours, you know? It's not that deep.
Honestly, you would be shocked at like, if I'm looking at the playground right now, or the swing set structure, like you would be shocked at like how much is missing, I guess, to that. Like,
Underneath each
Yeah.
swing and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
It does feel like the
Goes
problem
there,
is
yeah.
some,
if you look at the actual equipment and where the step should be
Yeah.
versus where mulch is, 12 inches and then you tether it back to that, you'd be shocked. You're really not supposed to be stepping up to the first step, it's supposed to be flush with the mulch.
and
You're not supposed to.
Been too long,
Yeah.
yeah,
way too
the
long.
difference in
Yeah.
price is negligible, I feel like, especially with the fact that this gets us 6 inches all the way across all the parks versus some of them are getting a little less with the other.
yeah, and with
That's the only real difference in the savings is that.
yeah, it's not
Those
too
ones
crazy
are
different.
getting a little bit less.
Yeah, and
Savings as well.
what you, sorry, let's really shoot for a sec. This. So I've heard quite a few comments on kids not being able to even get on the swing because of how low it is, how low the mulch is there. So having something like this, sorry, just grabbing your paper, having something like that would be helpful in not having that continuous wear as kids are kicking off and whatever else. So it's obviously that's not a costly option compared to the mulch, but it would help out. I think we need 8 total throughout all the parks for the playground, if the swings, if I counted correctly, but that's why that's there.
I think we just need to do it.
Okay, and we have funds to cover somewhere. You have to.
I mean, we're at a point where we have,
Right.
we wanted to get a couple different options, we wanted to get it in front of you, we've been waiting because it is nearly $21,000 for wood chips. So that's, but we can handle it and, it's needed at this point. And it doesn't include Selfridge at this point because the goal is replacement with board in place, or that's when you start something out. We looked at other options, like Ashton said, there are tons of different options, but in terms of where we're at, this is the easiest solution for the majority of the parks right now.
Yeah, no, this is the, makes sense.
We need a motion or?
Sure.
I think we have.
Yeah, a motion to pick the 6 inches with some heavy-duty rubber mats
From natural solutions.
from National Solutions, yeah.
I'll second.
Where is it?
Oh, we have
I was just wondering where the Natural Solutions is out of.
They are out of,
Menominee Falls.
yes, thank you. Okay.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Ball diving improvements. See, there's some
Okay.
things in here as well too.
What was that?
See, there's some things in here as well.
Yes, so you'll be looking at the Hutchinson Property Services and the Midwest Athletic Fields for that one. So, how this all came to be for the infield improvements. So, we sent out a survey to the ball diving clubs. So the last Park and Rec meeting we had, it was the day after I had the meeting with all the clubs that I told you guys about. So we had a meeting, and after that, we sent a survey out to all the clubs, school, collegiate, asking their opinions and their ranking on all the improvements that have to be done in all 7 diamonds. The top 2 that came back were, or number 1 was the infields, and on all diamonds. And number 2 was the batting cages at both Barlow and Murray Park. And one of the comments made prior was at the infields in the quad that some of the fields were to the point of almost being unplayable with that infield grass section of it. So then the clubs in the agreement are in charge of the infield maintenance, but I went ahead and just was researching on what it would cost to like add sand, because at that point I thought we just needed to add sand because of the lip that's on the infield. So I called Ripon College. They told me who they contact for sand, because since I've been here, no sand's been ordered, and I couldn't find anywhere on my viewpoint of where we could have bought sand in the past. So I reached out to them. They suggested Wapaka Sand Solutions. He came out and said, I don't even want to quote you on sand. The lip needs to be fixed before you even get a quote on this, because it's just going to be, adding sand's just going to be Band-Aid. So then he suggested 3 companies he's worked with to do infield renovations, maintenance, and here, as you can see on the screen, I reached out to Hutchinson Property Services and Midwest Athletic Fields. These are the ones that responded and were able to get quotes. KEI Sports Fields and R&R Wash are actually coming tomorrow to quote us on it, and I reached out to Burnt Excavating and Manstee Seeding and Landscaping, and just waiting on them. And then the other alternative that Adam and I talked about today, what if like DPW took out that grass infield, and Wapaka Sand Solutions or whoever it may be that provides the infield mix comes to top it off at that point. So this is what I've collected, and the option 1 is removing the lips and keeping the infield and adding infield mix. So there's a lip on the outfield, going from infield to outfield, there's a lip there, there's a lip in the grass infield. So basically the whole exterior of all 4 diamonds of the quads needs to be cut. The sod needs to be cut, new sod has to be placed, and then infield mix has to be added into it. So that's an option. Or you have the option of completely removing the infield grass, going to just straight infield mix, and maintenance-wise, it is a ton easier to do that than having to keep maintaining the grass infield. Just my own experience having to maintain fields or drag fields every single day for a year and a half, or not every single day because we have winter obviously, but it's the difference between a normal sand field to a grass infield is an astronomical difference, because you have a lot less weed growth, you don't have the lip issues, you don't have any of those issues. And it comes at a higher price point if you remove the grass infield, but over time, it's cheaper to remove the infield rather than keep having to do maintenance on the lip, or if a lip shows up on a grass infield. So I talked to somebody today who had one of the companies, they went out and took their grass infield, and I talked to them and just asked how their experience was with them, and also how their experience is going from grass to no grass. And essentially they said that the coaches, it's a high school field, so the coaches love it, it's way better. Maintenance-wise, it's easier, they have a lot less issues with water, all of that stuff. So overall, he said that they're glad they made the switch. And talking to, which one was it, Midwest Athletic Fields, when he first came, he said that more people are removing grass infields now than adding them in. Most people, he said it was like a 2000s raged or something like that. Sometime around there where people felt the need, they needed the grass infield, and now they're going away from it, realizing how much maintenance it is. So one of the, I think it's field 2, so the back corner towards the Massachusetts Trail. That field was actually done I was told, around 5 years ago, and it looks the same as the other 4 fields. So if that tells you anything about like how you'll have to keep doing maintenance on the grass and whatnot, I don't know, that's just an example of how the cost could keep recurring. Obviously you have to keep adding sand into it, but that's at any field. You have to add mix in every once in a while and field mix to make sure it's level and whatnot. So that's the research I did. Obviously the price difference between these 2 companies right now are very different. So for Hutchinson Property Services, that's, as of right now, that's the cheaper of the quotes by a pretty significant amount. And that is one of the companies, the high school I talked to today, that's the company they worked with, and they had a really good experience with them as well. But I'll work to keep getting the rest of the quotes from the other companies too. But after this meeting and after what we discussed, then I'll take it, we'll talk to the clubs, get their feedback on it as well. Yeah, so sorry, that was a lot of rambling.
Is there a preference from the clubs to have them removed?
It depends on who you,
That's what I thought.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so one of them brought up the fact that why don't we remove it, while the other, there was a factor of, will there be a lot of wind? There is a lot of wind in this park, obviously, as you guys know. So will there be a lot of dust collecting, flying up in the air? So that was a point that was brought up too, but I don't know, my viewpoint is not that mine matters at all compared to everybody else's, but like I think maintenance-wise and everything else, I think it would be better to remove the infield, but that's just me. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have any like particular opinions.
From a maintenance standpoint, I can see how removing it would make it easier. Obviously, we should wait until the other quotes are in.
Yeah, exactly.
And see if we can get a consensus from the clubs as to which, because you said that they're at least partially on the hook for doing some of that, or do we maintain all of it?
That's been the point of contention here, right? No club is offering up to assist any dollars at this point to keep, maintain, you know,
or
and remove this stuff, right?
Okay.
I believe the clubs have worked or want to work on replacing, or at least one of them, one of the group wants to work on replacing a batting cage down here, which is great. We'll work with whoever, right? You know, the cost here is significant. The maintenance in the future is significant. The city has traditionally been the ones either completing or conducting the work on these larger issues. You know, adding sand and dragging and all those have been generally done by the clubs. But this is a bigger dollar amount, and I think it's been a point of just kind of, you know, not a contention, I would say, but it's just been
I think
people are,
everybody's gonna have an
everybody has an
opinion as to
opinion, keep them,
which
don't
one.
keep them. At the end of the day, we're going to continue to have costs into either way.
Yeah.
But removing the grass infields will be less costly over time. And as we struggle with other things there, you'll be looking at having to every 5 to 10 years redo that, because there's just no good way other than turf, right? Something synthetic, right? Which you be
Also
putting
has its own
zeros
costs
on
as well.
to the
Yeah.
you know. So we're really at a point where while we respect and understand the importance of getting feedback from the clubs, the reality is this decision is the city's decision, and frankly, a decision of this committee, to really recommend what happens with the infields there. Because there is a cost that then we have ongoing. There's obviously an upfront cost, but then ongoing. Certainly the ideas of, I know grass probably slows down balls in the infield. There's always mowing that has to be done. That's a cost. The lips always happen because I think the sand gets in the grass and it just builds up. So you're having a constant battle. But ultimately, what we're looking for is what direction would this committee prefer, and what message do we want to take to the partners of saying, look, this is what we prefer, versus having an argument amongst the clubs and everybody of, we want to do this, we want to do this. That's great. We can come back in a month to you all and say, this wanted this, this wanted this, this wanted this, this wanted this. Okay. At the end of the day, we got to make a decision here with the future of these diamonds, because the condition of the infield was something that they wanted addressed as the number one concern. Right?
Yep.
And so if there's a cost in keeping grass and that's what they want, if there's not a cost, or if there's a lesser cost to remove it, then maybe there's a different approach where the city takes on that burden of removing it. So,
And as well, there's this sprinkler system
It's just
in
irrigation
quad.
there, right? Yeah.
But 2 of the sprinklers aren't functioning correctly right now. So if we kept the infield, we would have to get those 2 fixed. 2 of them work perfectly. They spin in the circle that they're supposed to do. 2 of them are stuck in one position, so you can't turn any of them on right now, because once you turn them on, all 4 turn on. And with those 4 turning on, then you're creating a pool in 2 fields, because the water's just going to one spot while the others are being watered like they should. We discovered that last summer.
but that would be all removed. The
Yeah.
irrigation system would be removed as part of it.
I have a question. So you said that other towns have been removing the
Mhm.
infield. Do we have any idea of how much of the actual number would be for savings over the years?
I don't
versus
like
keeping-
particularly have a number, but
Yeah. Anybody should have
I-
any information on that? 'Cause
I don't see what I could definitely reach out and,
how much,
Yeah.
how much of that $30,000 would we be saving in maintenance costs?
yeah, I can look into it. While I wait for the others to come in. It's no problem.
Yeah, I mean, the reduction in maintenance costs is great. I can definitely see the difference. I can also see the,
How much exactly, it might be worth it, just doing it then,
I mean, at the very least, we don't have to fix those sprinklers.
It's very minimal compared to the rest of it.
That's why I said the very least.
Well, with being their number one concern, I think, that's, we're in the process of looking at it, right? So.
I mean, honestly, I
Accepting.
can see how, I don't want to sound like the old guy, but I never played on a field that had a grass infield when I was a kid. Except for, I think the high school field had a grass infield.
Mhm.
You know, that was it. Every single playground I was ever on was all sand. You know, I never had a problem with it. Windy day, you might get a little sand in your eye, but that's gonna happen anyway, because there's still sand out there, even if
Yeah.
there is grass in the middle, so. I would vote towards removing them, but obviously, the other quotes are gonna make a difference on that as well.
Yeah.
Thanks. Any other further questions or discussion or anything for Ashton at this time? What you got next?
Okay, refund policy. So this came to be, it was first because, well, to have a refund policy, it's important, and we should have had it earlier, but this specifically came up because There were 2 occasions just this year that someone had the senior activity center reserved for the weekend. One day I looked at an error as I was talking. I called them on Friday, verifying some information on the weekend, and they said, oh, they didn't tell you that we're not using it anymore? So like, it's like things like that, that like, there has to be something in place, so I'm not getting the whole building ready, or not saying it's not ready in general, but like the seniors, the volunteers that do certain things to help me out before the reservation, to make sure the building's in good shape before reservations. So that's just kind of to avoid all of that, any super late cancellations. And just for programming, it's just nice to have that in place. So because a lot of programs you're buying certain supplies for based on whoever signs up. If someone calls you the day of and says, I'm not coming, then those are the occasions where you're like, well, unfortunately you can't get a refund because of like the late call and whatever else. So that is why this got brought to light. So you can, I won't read out the whole entire policy, but if you guys want to take a look, if you see any suggestions that you guys have for changes, or I realized the only thing I didn't put in there was it might take up to blank weeks to process, because I don't know how, like 2 weeks or something.
Refund,
Yeah,
1 or 2 weeks, I think.
that's what I forgot it up to blank. So,
We have a couple of Brandon.
oh, probably. Go for it. Throw them at me.
Well, senior is Miss.
Yep, senior. Yep.
I think the sentence, the last sentence there, is that supposed to be an R? Reservations made within 10 business days of the reservation date are not subject to a cancellation.
Yeah, are not. Are and not subject to it. Reservations made within 10
I mean,
business
there's,
days.
should really put an R.
I see what you're saying.
And then the yours up above. Are they applicants or
Are you talking about like when it says or a program credit on?
your account? Instead of your, like, the participant
On participants' breakfast accounts?
or, yeah, well, that's what's. I wanted to put it on. The applicant or the participant or.
User.
Reference says to user's card account. Participant.
Last paragraph, second line, instead of in your account, should say in their account.
Last paragraph, which one? Second?
Second line.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 of them.
And where's this gonna be posted?
So I'll have it on rec desk, and then anything that gets sent out, like the summer flyer, if you want to call it that, that I sent out, it would be attached to that as well, like any large scale 3-month in advance program schedule, stuff like that. It won't be like attached to every post or social media post or anything like that, but it'll be accessible online and can be on the city's website too, on the rec section. Anywhere. If there's anything like specific on the amount of days or anything like that, or do you guys think that it's acceptable? This is similar to what I've had in a previous community and it worked out well, so I don't foresee any issues with it, but
My only issue is with some work schedules, the getting a hold of the park and rec department during those certain business hours
Mhm.
might be kind of inconvenient.
yeah, so anytime, like, if, I guess they can still call, I can, like, specifically say that, people can still call outside of business hours, and essentially I just call them back. But I can like make it in a way so it's not specifically, you can only call during these hours, if that makes sense. Is that what you're getting at? Yeah.
Or just like an email or I'm
Yeah.
not sure what would be
Yeah.
acceptable.
You just have it say a refund request must be made to the Parks and Rec Department business, or just to the Parks and Rec Department. It
Yeah.
Doesn't
Fine.
even need a clarification
Yeah.
of time on it,
Yeah.
just that this is who you need to contact.
Oh, that makes sense. Anything else? Is that the rule?
They can hear, they can move it here an issue.
We would like to approve it
With the changes.
with the changes. I'll obtain a motion for someone to approve. Or I'll make the motion myself, which would be great.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. One more, Ashton, what you got?
Yes, flexible facilities grants. Start off.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention this quick. The city, the state came out with a grant program called the Flexible Facilities Grant. It's geared toward particularly libraries and then other public facilities. I know the public library is applying, and there's a certain, is it $107 or so million allocated for the fund, and 25–30% of it is immediately allocated for libraries, and then the rest is open to anything, right? And very flexible, has to have components of responding to healthcare emergencies, so it's open dollars, with then components of either like access to internet, et cetera, right? So there's specific criteria, but it's very broad. And through some of Ashton's travels into some talking about master planning and working through some of the improvements in the parks, it's not like a grant like this comes up ever. So we just are seeking this opportunity to apply for a project in Barlow Park to construct a facility. And the facility would not, it wasn't particularly mentioned in the master planning, but it's referenced as shelter and basically court space, for lack of better definition. So the whole concept would be sort of an outdoor, indoor-outdoor, or a 3 seasons covered area where you have a small area inside that you can rent, bathrooms, you go where the existing courts are. There'd be then covered area for programming. The concept kind of mimics what happened in Howard, Wisconsin. They have a place called the Howard Commons that Ashton went to tour, and they have a whole outdoor covered space that has a community center on the one end, a splash pad, a beer garden, and an entire amphitheater on the other. It is amazing.
It's nice.
It's amazing. They've really developed it into something unique, but taking a concept like that and shrinking it down and applying for funding, that it's 100% funded, there's no match required. So we are looking at this facility as complementing something like this, where you have a smaller indoor space. Obviously, the bathrooms and the shelter up in Barlow Park are in desperate need of replacement. They're very bad. Well, it's a nice old building, and it has character and charm because of when it was built. It has long served its useful life. So we're trying to get creative and trying to get something funded. It's a shop. That's all it is. to see if we can get, you know, $2 million to put in something. And what we envision it is essentially being you can do everything from pickleball to roller skating to classes to performances in an outdoor covered area, as well as have Wi-Fi and have a space for anything, you know, outdoor classes, but it would be covered, right? And then, so you say a third of it is an area where there's bathrooms and an indoor facility, and then 2/3 of it is an actual large shelter that's concrete. In Howard, they have an ice skating rink that they freeze and it freezes under it. We wouldn't go that big, I don't think. But that's the concept. And we're working on that grant application for it. We just wanted to make you all aware of it. It's a very bizarre grant application. It is not your normal, like, you don't need plans and specs. You just got to get the project, be able to get the project done by a certain time. And I'm just saying we can maybe address a lot of the needs in Barlow Park with this opportunity and do something unique and special that does address the core components of the grant funding with, you know, COVID response and other things, because nobody could do anything indoors for like a year, right? It's to create a space that's kind of a hybrid space that complements this space and other park amenities. So while it's not I would say a fully baked idea, it's an opportunity that we are pursuing. So we wanted to let you all know.
Sounds very good.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed. All right, what you have?
Okay, so Max, you've all met Max, right? No,
I think I've met some of you, but not all of you.
this is Max. He was my intern since last September. So he came back this spring, and now he's full-time DPW till June 3rd.
So this last week.
Yes, this is last week. June 3rd, he transitions 20 hours rec, 20 hours DPW, so he'll still help. He's been helping with the mowing, weed whacking,
All
park.
park amenities.
Yes. So he's been doing that, and we've heard a lot of good things about him. And so he'll still be sticking with that for 20 hours, but then he'll be learning the role and participating in the programming for 20 hours a week too, starting on the 3rd. So
Next month. Very excited.
And then when Ashton,
oh yeah, I forgot about that part. When I leave, yes. Yes.
for a couple or a few months,
Yeah.
depending on it, Max will take over
Yeah.
and fill in for Ashton through the rest of the summer until she returns.
I'm going to say, just to give myself a little bit of background, I just graduated this May from Ripon College, and I majored in sports management with minors in coaching and strength and conditioning. So I taught the water aerobics for the seniors for a whole year, actually. It's like a year this past month now, but really enjoyed that and look forward to serving the community and helping out with you guys.
Seniors love Max. Okay. And then going off of what Parks DPW, so I was actually just talking to our DPW staff about this, or Alan and Chris last week, that just the difference between last year to this year when it comes to parks, mowing, all of that, it looks, it just looks awesome. So I just wanted to give the random DPW shout out. Apparently there's an extra lawnmower thrown in there compared to last year, so that's helped out with. I know last year there's a lot of long grass, and this year it's been maintained really well. We have a new person in the parks section. There's one person DPW that transitions from normal DPW to parks in the summer. and he's been awesome so far. So that's really nice to see, and it's awesome. They do a lot of hard work, and it's greatly appreciated. And off of that, the tree planting, we were able to, thanks Jason for coming, we were able to plant all the trees. I think it took like less than 2 hours. It was fast. It was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. So DPW, the school, other city council folks and people from the city who came. I think we had about 40-ish, 45 individuals planting. So I don't know, it all went super well. And then the next Monday, DPW came and finished off mulching and staking out all the trees, and it looks really nice. And now that
Some of them in Barlow.
oh
I was
yes,
like, holy cow.
yeah, there was a lot planted. And now with the stumps grinded too, it looks super nice. Just with all the new trees and everything. Going away from park side of things, this 4th of July, we're putting just a small kind of event in a way going off of the fireworks. So it's going to be 2 hours prior to the fireworks. The Kiwanis, they're doing their softball game, and they'll have a bouncy house, concessions, everything they have. So Rec, the senior, or Christine, Senior Activity Center, and then Mandy Kimes and Max, we've just been talking about what we can, starting really simple, what we can add to it that's just a fun, simple, family-friendly atmosphere. To just add a little something instead of just the fireworks. So we just have some family games, like what I see it as is like your tradition, like if you go back to your childhood and you think of like what you experienced at the fireworks, like there's watermelon eating contest, tug of war, potato sack races, stuff like that that's so simple but yet fun for people to enjoy. So games along the lines of that. We're going to have concessions up here, just super simple, like bomb pops, popcorn with the popcorn machine, glow sticks, stuff to embrace the American 4th of July atmosphere. We have an obstacle course, and then one of the, there's a, not Great Small Farm, there's another petting zoo that they were at, I think it was at Septemberfest or something along the lines of that. They'll be there, and then just face painting and just music playing throughout. So it's super small, but just something fun for families to do prior to the fireworks. Hopefully the weather's awesome. And so far, sponsor-wise, it's been Alliance Laundry, Modern Overhead Doors, Mr. and Mrs. P's, Webster's, Ripon Drug, Vision Care Associates, and JH Control. So we're just looking for sponsors to help support the cost of the fireworks and just the fun game portion of it, but that's not a large cost. It's more the fireworks than anything. So just a little bit on that. And then, information on summer programming was sent out well over a month ago to the school, social media, our website, rec desk, mailing lists. If you guys were on that, you would have gotten all my emails I keep sending. So if there's any way you guys, while talking to people, if any time rec is brought up or anything like that, just promoting summer programming in any way that you guys can, would be awesome to get more people involved with it. As we have a lot of new programs that were not ran last year. So there's that, and then Max participated in Kids to Park Stay at the Library. So it's a national day across the U.S. Whereas it wasn't in the park, it was at the library, but it's called Kids to Park Stay. So he did a flower plant craft with the kids while the library was there as well, doing their portion with United Way. So it was a little collaboration between 3 organizations. And then we have the Murray Park Wellness Day. So Murray Park did a wellness day for the whole school. It was a whole day-long event for the kids. So from 8 to 11:30, I did a fun activity down at the Ball Diamond in regards to endorphins, exercising, just happy hormones, stuff like that. So that was pretty fun. And then we have the Kiwanis Children's Fair coming up, another thing that we're collaborating with in June. I think it's the second week of June. Yeah, so we have I'm not going to go through the whole list of programming, but we have a lot of programs coming up as well. So that's just a little, the last 2 months, what has been going on with the rec department.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Project updates, was that included in that, or is there other things that you needed to address?
Did you? Not really. Yeah.
Certainly take suggestions for agenda items at any time, right? So you can stick those to Ashley, and then we'll determine, based upon your availability or Max's, right, when the next meeting may
Yeah.
occur, right?
Yes. Hopefully I'll be here one more time.
If there's any feedback or anything you're hearing, certainly let us know, good, bad, and different, so.
Any other further topics of discussion? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So